I like that you said it right. I come with you for trades.
Yeah, 6 days.
All six of you, yes. Well, I think there's a few more. There's six. Yeah, they're still struggling over. That's okay. We'll start with Adam. That works. Good morning. All right, so there's new faces and I know you don't know everybody, so take 60 seconds and go meet a new face and introduce yourself and learn something new. Go.
Yeah, it's crush here.
I just did join here, so it's my second week.
Yeah, I'm really good with faces. It's not a starter name. I just have to like tell them your name and then it'll sing it and then I Got two? Yeah. It's been years. All right.
Oh, I was like, what do you want me to?
Oh, no. Did you meet somebody new? Yeah. This is Jenna. Everybody wave to Jenna.
Hi, Jenna.
That's what happens when you didn't get to meet your new person.
Oh. Never mind. She's like,
I had you ready, but not for that. All right. Welcome, everybody. Let's get started. Andrew, you're awesome. Thank you for lunch today. Come on up.
Good morning, friends. Andrew Perking. I run a team called North Point Financial Advisors with under a company called Thrivent right down the road here in Johns Creek. I think we've been here, this is either year 3 or 4 that we've been here in the office as a vendor. So just real quick, we are a comprehensive financial planning and advisory firm. So one of the things that's a little different about us compared to a lot of the vendors in here is that we're not directly tied to you buying and selling a house, right? So conveying the value of what you do every day, we're not necessarily at the top of mind. So hopefully all of y'all have good advice and seek advice and work with a planner or advisor. But the biggest difference between us and the way a lot of people work is that we go out of our way to create a different experience for clients. And it's one that is centered less on transactional items, be it managing assets, insurance products, all those things are great. But especially for people that are business owners, self-employed, they like to invest and think a different way, be it in real estate like y'all do, private equity, whatever it might be. We look at the whole scope of things and try to, any decision that you make with a dollar, we are there to help with that and to provide advice for it. So everything we do is advice driven, first and foremost, strategy driven, forward banking, helping you solve problems. And then if there are things that need to be placed because of that, accounts that need to be open, products that need to be purchased, those are just tools that help you accomplish goals and solve problems. Okay. So the way that we work is a little different from a compensation standpoint too, where we actually work and get paid for our advice and time, which is something that most advisors actually don't. They get paid transactionally. So our business model works really well in the other offices that we're in with people just like y'all, because you're self-employed, you naturally think differently, you have a different risk tolerance, you have different problems and opportunities because your tax situation is different. You can save and build wealth differently. Real estate, that's a great piece of the puzzle. We help you do it and even source deals, but do it more efficiently than you might think of. So there's so many opportunities out there. We just try to go out of our way to think about a lot of things that a lot of advisors don't. Okay. Real quick, one thing I always try to do when I talk is to actually provide actionable advice, and not just stand up here and talk. So a couple of quick things. We're now into Q4. Today is October 1st. It's a great month, right? Still have time before the end of the year. So two things I would think about. One, this is a popular, I know that all y'all are self-employed. If you have a spouse that works for a large company, this is a popular open enrollment time and benefits period. Okay. So look at that. A lot of times you might have set it in stone and not thought about it. Those can change every year, those benefit options. Look at that and make sure you maximize it, especially being self-employed on y'all's end. There are often some spousal benefits and opportunities to take advantage of. And even for y'all, it's a good time to think about your own benefits. And since you don't work for a large employer that provides those, thinking about how you still fill those gaps and needs, because there is a gap in needs, and just doing it efficiently. One thing, especially on the medical front, as maybe y'all are under a plan or you guys have to go look for that, it's actually kind of harder than you would think for self-employed people. If you can fund a health savings account every single year, do that. Do that. Okay. It is the most tax efficient account there is. The one kind of asterisk on that is that it's only for qualified health expenses, but the tax deductible contribution is tax free when you take it down on the road. You take it out down the road, you can actually save and invest it along the way. So take advantage of that if you can. If you're single, you can put about 4,100 in there this year. If you're married, it's about 8,300. Okay. So that's one thing. Second thing from a tax standpoint is I say this every single time I talk. So Andrea's heard this like 10 times. Have a quality tax advisor underneath your financial team. Okay. Tax advisor, not somebody that just prepares your taxes, but somebody that actually gives you advice. Why is that important? Because you are self-employed, you have opportunities to take advantage of that most people don't. Okay. Even if you make a lot of money and you're just a W-2 employee, there's not a lot of tax opportunities and strategies available to you. For y'all, there are abundant ones. Before the end of the year, there are still things that can be done. So proactively, if you can get that person on your side, before the end of the year, you could be looking at funding different types of retirement accounts, a SEP IRA, a solo 401k, a simple, whatever it might be. Seek that advice. There's deductions to take advantage of before the end of the year. Seek that proactively, because once December 31st rolls around, there's not much you can do. Okay, you still have 3 months to find that person. Hopefully you have one. If not, reach out. There's a couple people I work with that are great partners for our clients. Seek that out, because it's one of the best resources you can have in your back pocket. Okay. All right, that's all I got. Lunch is provided. Hope you enjoy it.
You're
Thank
welcome.
y'all.
Thank
Yep.
you. Where's Tanner? There you are. He's hiding.
I'm gonna look way worse now then.
It's Monday.
All right, how's everybody doing? Good. Awesome. Good. All right. Well, for those of you that haven't met me yet, my name's Tanner Johnston. I'm an attorney with O'Kelly.
Hold on, Tanner. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, that's the.
You guys practice? All right, but yes, if you haven't met me, my name's Tanner Johnston. I'm an attorney with O'Kelly and Sorahan. I've taken over our Johns Creek office. I think this is week 3 or 4 now. Many of the faces in here look familiar to me, so it's great to see you all. Those that I haven't met yet, hello. I'd love to say, hey, chat when we're all done. Just come by, say hey. I won't bite too hard, especially since my dog's lost this weekend. Sore subject.
Don't even bring that up.
Sore subject. But yes, if you guys need anything, deed preps, we're still doing the concierge service. You can send everything to us. We'll coordinate everything through our office. Just keep it on business as usual. So thank you guys for having me. Real quick, similar to Andrew, like to have some sort of advice or something that we can provide so you don't just have to sit here and listen to me out. All right. So 2 things I want to talk about. One is a little bit about procedurally what we're doing on our end with transactions as far as mailaways or POAs. And then second, I want to talk a little bit about a realty company called MV Realty. I touched on it in Coffee Talk last week, and we just got a notice from our underwriters yesterday regarding some transactions with them. So those are the 2 things we're going to chat about. First, with power of attorneys and mailaways, we use a service called IntelliCheck. All right. And so what that is it's a third-party software that comes in and validates the seller or the buyer's driver's license and all of their information to make sure we're dealing with the correct seller. All right. We don't use it so much on the buyer side because they have the lenders that verify everything on there, and we're more so focused on the sellers. All right. So if you have a listing and you're handling a seller in our office and they're using a power of attorney or a mail away, that's going to be something we need to coordinate. Now, we have some exceptions around it, but for a vast majority of the time, we're going to be using that program. And it's very simple. All we'll need to do is it takes about 5 minutes. We'll schedule a time with your client, the seller, and then they need their driver's license, and they'll take a photo selfie and a driver's license picture, and then it runs it through databases to ensure that's not a fraudulent seller. And that way we're doing that just to protect everybody involved and make sure we're actually dealing with the correct person. All right. Second, I want to talk a little bit about this company, MV Realty. Have you guys heard much about MV Realty?
A little bit.
So MV Realty, I don't like them. Can't really hide my disdain for them. So they're a real estate brokerage. And what they do is they'll come in and say, hey, we'll give you $100 or a couple $100 now. Just sign this affidavit, we'll record it. And then when you go to sell, we'll be your realtor. So people will sign it and then just forget all about it. And then 5-10 years down the road, we've got this affidavit that now MV Realty gets 3% of the commission and the seller's completely forgotten about. All right. And so we still have to pay those off. They are legally binding. Now, Governor Kemp's taken action. He's banned them all going forward. But all the ones that still exist, unfortunately, we have to pay off. So if we see an MV Realty affidavit on our title exam, first, I'm going to call you guys and let you know, hey, we've got this MV Realty payoff. Unfortunately, we do have to pay 3% of the purchase price. But this is more so for your knowledge. There's a lot of class action lawsuits and things going on to try to get rid of these and wipe them out. But this is something you may see a little bit of. And with the commission structure changing recently, just wanted to highlight that for you. It wouldn't surprise me if we see something similar as well coming through.
It was on the local news. If you want to learn more about it, they've done some investigative journalism around it. That's how it got exposed. It was very predatory is what it was. And so it's become people are more aware of it now.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I wanted to bring it to your attention as well, because it's now more in the spotlight. Underwriters are catching on. And so if we see those things, we do have to pay them, unfortunately, but that's something that you can bring to the table and ask your client if they've ever dealt with MV Realty before. But that's all I got for now. If you guys want to chat more when we're done, we'll keep rocking and rolling, but thank you guys for having me.
Thank you, Tanner. Thank you. All right, come on up. You got a crew.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Do you want the clicker or you want?
Do you mind clicking? I'm not a good clicker.
Click.
Okay.
But
I'll do it like the football.
like the
and stuff.
football league.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
Oh, this is me. All right, that's not me.
Then yeah, I don't think that looks like you.
So we have an old friend who's back with us at North Point Mortgage, and he's been in business like 24 years. He's a great guy. He's got kids. I mean, he's the whole package. He's but here's what he's got that's very unique. This man speaks fluent Spanish. So he's a very, very, very accomplished loan officer. You could test him if you wanted to, but let's.
No, very simple. I speak it, but I'm very shy.
So anyway, Ray Cope, if you need his information because you feel like you might want help with a client, then he's readily available and we all have his number. He doesn't roll with business cards because he's a cool kid and does electronic ones. So just let me know or anybody know. And I'm sure Ray will be happy to.
I have them. I can get some here, but I mean, this is still your team. I'm merely here to help if you have Spanish speaking customers. So one thing I will say, I'm about 5 years in. 5 years ago, I knew the same Spanish words that y'all know. Fiesta, siesta, cerveza, chica, that stuff.
You already ahead of me.
Tequila.
I have been seriously at it. I mean, I do about 9 classes a week.
Wow.
And I do daily online. It is important to remember Mondays and Fridays, I'm in a real class with my teacher in Argentina, but that's 5:30 to 6:30. Shouldn't be during business hours. Every day I'm getting better. So right now, the number one thing to tell a customer before they call me, slow. My grammar is terrible, but they're going to understand me. Despacio. Yes. Lo que necesito es que hablan muy despacio. And then I can understand what they say.
Yes. He's great. It's very good.
And I'm going to make this my niche. No more builder business for me. Done with it.
Great. All right.
Good.
Well done.
Okay.
Okay.
And real quick on the market update. So you see rates are right around that 6% mark for last week. More, I wanted to just kind of talk about, I think the last time we were here, it was just after the Fed had announced the half point movement. As we discussed, when they make that announcement, the mortgage market has already positioned itself. There would need to be a surprise in that meeting for the market to move up or down. When the Fed chairman spoke, when they made the half point movement, they said they're neutral right now and they're going to watch the market and see what happens, which wasn't real great for interest rates. We've kind of been kind of flat since. In listening to a pretty big market update that we listened to, one of our expert, Barry Habib, which is kind of like everybody's go-to in the mortgage industry, giving some feedback where they think the Fed might go. Of the members, I think, and again, this is information that the mortgage market hasn't moved to yet because this is still speculation, but of the members, I think 9 of them are wanting to move another half a point. And so I think 7 want to move another quarter point. There's like 1 that doesn't want to move things at all, and 1 that wants to move it 3/4 of a point.
Can we move the one that doesn't want to move it off the island?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah. So that lunatic, no one's listening to him.
Gotta go.
So we're hopeful that will progress into discussions that become more meaningful about that, and that we could see maybe as much his prediction was hopefully maybe as much as a half a point in rate on the mortgage side by the end of the year if they start to move things like that. So.
Is that the tab? Yep. Okay. I got it.
And we moved. So we moved our office, in the kitchen area to the front in Miss Susan's office. So we've had a few people pop in. You're like, you're not Susan? She's actually right across from our other office in the hall there. So.
I just can't get away from Northwood.
And you said that if you walk through the office any 30 days, I'm sure I've moved something. So just, we don't want anybody to get complacent. It's called find the friend, find your new friend. But Susan's just right down the hall. She's got a bigger office. She needed more space.
So that means come see me. Now I have room for you.
All right.
And then real briefly, I'll introduce our fearless leader, Lou Saris. Most of you know him, but for those of you who don't, he's our branch manager, our executive manager for our team. And I've worked with him for 22 years now. My entire time in the business.
Started when we were 10.
Yeah. So, and all of us, we love the guy very much, and I'll turn it over to him to do his thing.
Thank you very much. Well, I appreciate everyone attending today. It's always nice to have a group like this here, especially with Keller Williams. Guys are awesome. Before I get started,
Online too, because you got a crew online too.
thank you online. It's a bigger audience.
Yeah.
Before I just get into this real quick, I want to set a couple ground rules for me. Right. The one thing I'm not going to do is what Lee just did. He just explained to you exactly what's going on. And as my role in the company, I try to generate relationships, right? And I have to have this conversation every day with several clients every day. So it was nice to hear somebody else do it. So I'm not talking about interest rates. In fact, I'm just going to talk about hard work today. And I got a real special day today. October 1st, I'm married 36 years. It is a very special day for me. And I can also vouch for my 2 business partners, Kevin and James. Between us, we have 93 years of marriage. And up here, I think I calculated there's about 70 years of marriage. So anyway, again, I bring that up for one reason. Would everyone agree that in marriage, everyone has to work very hard on both sides to make it work?
Yeah.
Every year, I mean, it is, I hear people say, yeah, I've been married 36 years, 10 of them very happy. Right. Well, that's what we do. And we work very hard, my wife and I know all the spouses in here and all of you work very hard every day to do that. Well, I also bring that to work with me. And, every single day, when we come into work, we grind. We are the 3 of us and the team that we've assembled, we roll our sleeves up. I'm still originating mortgages. I'm not that guy that sits in the Eiffel Tower and watches over and counts money. That's just not how it works. We don't do that. My business partner, James, the same thing. He works from 7 a.m, sometimes till 10 p.m, talking to underwriters and make sure your deals are going through. Kevin, my other business partner, that guy, same thing. He's making sure that your pricing, with all these online companies and people telling you what rates are, give me a break. His sleeves are rolled up and he's making sure that we're getting every one of those loans closed at a really great price. So I bring that up because for one thing, everybody that we bring into our North Point group and you as well, we partner so well with you because you all work. You all wouldn't be sitting here in the meeting today, and people that aren't here, I know they're working. They're out with clients. They're out at lunches. I talked to a couple of people that I personally deal with in here on a daily basis, and they said, "Oh, I can't be there today. I'm out with a client." Blah blah. That's great, but I look at the way we have formulated our team, how hard we work every day to make sure that you guys get the best of the best. Hey, let's face it. Every mortgage company that's in business today are good at what they do, right? Or they wouldn't be in business. How many went out of business after rates shot through the ceiling and there was no more refinances left?
One of the largest in Georgia did.
Yeah, no, and a lot of small ones you don't even hear about. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, 90 to 93% purchase volume with us. That's what we concentrate on. We'll take all your refinances that you get and all your clients get, but we all roll our sleeves up to get that done. I can't talk enough about it. I'm tired. I'm very tired of listening to the economists that are telling us rates are coming down. At this point, who really cares? We've been in this 2.5 years. Think about that. 2.5 years. Rates are still not low, and they're not going to go down to where they were. I mean, that was just an anomaly that the government produced for us that caused a lot of havoc. Yeah, it made a lot of money for people, and it sold a lot of houses. But my goodness gracious, I mean, I'm just tired of listening to the economists today telling me on this date the rates are coming down. I'm getting tired of that. So what do? You work. You get out, you get on the phone, you make the phone ring. If you're not, I tell my guys and gals when I have one-on-ones, if you're not on the phone 4 to 5 hours a day, your phone's not going to ring. You just can't wait for it to ring. It's not happening right now. Yeah, it's getting a little bit busier because people are seeing rates are come down 2 points in the last 6 months. I mean, we were at 7.9, 7.8. We're now in the high fives. I mean, that's a big deal. So the phone is starting to ring. So again, my hat's off to what you all do here. I'm going to toot our horn just for a minute as well, because it's the truth. It's the truth. When I watch, and I deal with a lot of brokers and a lot of team leaders, and I've been doing it with Keller Williams and Brian Fair's offices since 1999. I don't see people like that work as hard and put as much effort into what Andrea does every day for every one of you. And that's how we treat our company. If we don't, we're going to leave. If she doesn't, you're going to leave. So at the end of the day, that's why this partnership is made in heaven. It is something that it's amazing. I love watching it. And, if you haven't used us, give us a shot. This whole team here are amazing. Believe me, they wouldn't be working for us if they weren't. We want them to be 10s, everybody in the company. If they're not, we try to build them there. And if they don't get there, then maybe there's something else they need to be doing. And they all know that. So thank you for having me today. We have a great fourth quarter coming up here. The financial planner, what's his name? Andrew. Thank you. That was awesome. I know Q4 is going to be killer. And if there's anything we can ever do to help you, I mean, we do we work the whole gamut of everything, even if it's just advice. And we do fix and take loans from other companies that they can't close. We are very, very open-minded. Our underwriting team really makes us exactly where we are as well. So anyone have any questions or anything like that? If not, I'll get off my soapbox. But I just want to thank you all. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having them, and you make it a great day and a great rest of the year. And maybe we'll do something for around the holidays with another breakfast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I have to do one quote. I promised my business partner I would do this. So this is a Thomas Edison quote. Opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and looks like work. I love that. Work.
So Lou, like you teed this up perfectly for me today. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it's a great job because we're going to be talking about fourth quarter relationships, how to end the year strong and how to make the phone ring in 2025 because we're there.
Then it's all about relationships. The marriages are relationships, it's tied in with work relationships. You know, the other thing that I was thinking about relationships is we talk about capture rate.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, when I hear about now, I understand what capture rate is. I've had to walk through this for the last 20 years with how many brokers and all right, how much capture rate are you getting? At the end of the day, I think a capture rate is what we got you in a cage, right? I put you in a cage. Here's the capture. All capture rate is us building a relationship with all of you and making it happen. That's what capture rate is. And we didn't even talk about this, so I saw you for 2 minutes today. So, thank you. You're amazing.
Right back.
Y'all are amazing. Great company you're working for. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Bo, 10-10. Yes. Speaking of anniversaries, 10-9 is ours.
Yep.
23 years? Yeah, 23 years. You're stuck, sorry. So 10-10, you can celebrate our anniversary by going to Bold. First step is free. Make sure you are there. And here is the QR code so that you can sign up if you have not. Currently, we're beating Sugarloaf. I would like to continue that trend. So please make sure you have signed up if you have not. And wait, oh, there we go. I was like, wait, my writing didn't show up. All right, we have 8 of our very own top agents who are going to go in a head-to-head objection conversation battle, and you get to decide what the topics are. How do you get to decide? Vote. It is happening October the 15th at team meeting. I see some of them in here going, oh dear Lord, what is she signing me up for? They're amazing. You want to hear how they are responding in all different scenarios? Scan the QR code and vote. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these into a fishbowl, and then they're going to go head to head, and you guys get to vote on who wins. Come on, that's fun. All right, I still see phones out. Yeah, keep your phones out because I got a few QR codes for you left. If you have not scanned this QR code yet and you need it, it's also in my Friday email. All right, Vegas. They extended this through today, so if you haven't bought your ticket, buy your ticket. There we go. All right, last, we're doing a spare change drive. If you scan the QR code, if you don't have actual change on you, if you do, the bucket is right there. This is directly for our KW family in Augusta and the Carolinas who have lost everything. Some people have no houses left completely. And as of last night, there were still a few agents that we have not been able to get in touch with in the Carolinas area. We need your help right now because honestly, even if it's $1, if it's 50 cents, that's why I said most people have old change jars that they haven't done anything with, and you're not really going to take it and do the rolls and everything. We will do that for you. Please bring it. Because that 50 cents adds up really quickly because as KW, we are working avidly to raise $6 million, and that is for our KW family alone. It supports the agents and their immediate families in getting back on their feet. We send in 18-wheelers with generators, with food, with water. We take care of our own people. And fortunately, we were completely bypassed. However, if we weren't, this would be us, and that $1 to $2 can go so far. So bring your spare change in, please, and we will keep this at the front desk, and I'm gonna go have it rolled, and I'm gonna, take it into bills and then get it to them. So we'll do the work. Please just bring us your change. Good?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I know this is tiny, but I'm going to read this to you because I think everybody needs to hear this right now. You ready? This is from Jay Papazan. Last week, I heard a story about success coach Brendan Butchard. His parents did not like him. I added that part. But his former marketing lead shared something interesting. During team meetings, Brendan always asked everyone to make each idea a little better. How can we +1 this? To his credit, he even asked this of his own ideas. This +1 idea is powerful. Small improvements add up over time. James Clear famously observed that if you get 1% better each day, you'll be 37 times better at the end of the year. I subscribe to Clear's philosophy of continuous improvement and try to surround myself with people with +1 attitudes. At the same time, it can be its own kind of rat race. When I shared the +1 story with my wife, she replied, I love that. And it also sounds completely exhausting. She's right. James Clear also says the most invisible form of wasted time is doing a good job on an unimportant task. Optimize what's important and let the rest go. Optimize what's important and let the rest go. My team has been in a season where we faced a unique series of challenges and converging deadlines. We've had to prioritize with near pathological ruthlessness. The hours have been long and there simply isn't enough time to do it all, much less do it at our usual +1 standards. For people who take pride in doing great work, it's hard to relax our standards. I've taken up a new mantra. Done is good, good is great. I repeat it to them and myself. This is a season of progress over perfection. I'm going to repeat that for everybody in this room. This is a season of progress over perfection. It pays to perfect the things that matter most. But when we optimize the unimportant, we waste our time, and time is a limited resource. When we lavish it on trivial things, we deny it from our true priorities. Give your energy to the things that matter, and remember, sometimes done is good and good is great. One question to ponder in your thinking time: how can I invest the majority of my time and effort in my true priorities? All right, so get out your pen and paper because this is going to be a aha kind of as we're walking through this. And you're going to have to share what you heard at the end. So there's a test. I mean, for yourself, not hurting. Before we start this, there was something that Marcus shared. Marcus is our Bold coach, and he shared something from the new Bold material that really hit me and has resonated with me. Has anybody heard Gary Keller's saying that says, fail fast, fail forward? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So think about this. If you didn't fail at something this week, then you most likely failed the week. How many perfectionists do I have in the room? Done is good. Good is great. Done is good. Good is great. We are in a season of progress, not perfection. If you can't circle back on Friday and tell me or somebody else in your world what you failed at, that means you didn't try anything and you didn't move forward. And if you didn't move, then you failed. The only way you truly fail is if you quit or you don't do it. That's failure. In a marathon, has anybody in the room ran a marathon? Good job, Tina. Michelle. Here's the thing, at a certain point in a marathon, don't you think that the runner, and Tina, you can attest to this, has to decide that they're going to finish the race no matter what, that it is worth the effort and energy that it's going to cost to get you there, even though at some point, I am sure that you didn't feel like that's what you wanted to do at the moment.
I've witnessed many people lay down and cry. Usually about 23. 23.
Guys, we're in a marathon. And when Lou said, I'm tired of hearing economists tell us this and tell us that, I'm tired of this, I'm tired. Yes, we're tired of it. Because it doesn't matter what people do in the future, you need to make a living now, yes or yes?
Yes.
So how do you do that? Welcome to 2025. Today is January 1st. How does that feel? Yay! Kind of good?
Yeah.
Good. Because today is the first day of the new year, because what you do today will determine what your first quarter of 2025 looks like. Therefore, the activities that you choose to do from today forward absolutely can fundamentally change what your business looks like from today forward. So if you want to draw a line in the sand and move forward, how many people are crushing their goals and knocked it out of the park in 2024? There's a few of you, and you're being modest, and I know it. And there's quite a few that aren't. Great. Either continue the trajectory or draw the line in the sand and move forward. It's your choice. But I've got this interview with Gary here. And I curated it. You know me, I'll play just snippets so you guys don't have to hear the whole thing. But please write down your ahas, because this is what I want us to focus on is actions.
20 hours with somebody unpacking their model and discover at the end that they may not have even had one. Or sometimes you're helping them unpack it in real time and they're getting clear on what it is. And then you hit this moment where it's absolutely beautiful, where you've boiled down 1 million points to the 5 or 6 that matter most. And now you've organized them. And so
let me tell you what he's talking about. He's talking about interviewing all of these top millionaire agents and their actual models. And now I can't even count how many times I have interviewed top agents and they say, well, I don't have a system. I don't have a lead generation system. I just wake up and I work. Yes, of course you have a system. Nobody just woke up, got the real estate license, did nothing except stay in bed and sit there quietly and told no one and did nothing. And magically you have all this business.
Which would be a system, by the way.
It would if it worked, but it doesn't. So they're doing something. So what Jason is talking about is sometimes people don't realize it, and he's interviewing them to help them figure out what is their system. Okay, so there's some context. Dadgummit.
20 hours with somebody unpacking their model and discover at the end that they may not have even had one. Or sometimes you're helping them unpack it in real time and they're getting clear on what it is. And then you hit this moment where it's absolutely beautiful, where you've boiled down 1 million points to the 5 or 6 that matter most. And now you've organized them and someone else can take those and go change their life.
Yeah, everybody follows a model. Some are subconscious and some are conscious, right?
Yes.
Yeah. The interesting thing is the subconscious is really by gut, by feel, like their eyes are shut, but they're feeling their way beautifully through it. And others who are very purposeful with a very conscious model that they can articulate because it's conscious.
And a lot of them go through the journey where it begins by using the force. And then it becomes more purposeful because at some point, the way that I'm behaving entrepreneurially doesn't then scale. And so I now have to slow down and document, well, what is my magic? And then can I take that magic and make it transformable for other people to use as well?
Okay, so stop the rolls. Anybody that's driving their Tesla right now, just keep driving. You know, we're going to give you a playbook on this conversation.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that There are two kinds of people. There are people that are unconsciously competent, and there are people that are consciously competent.
Decide which one you are. Consciously competent or unconsciously competent.
20 out. And then
But they're feeling their way beautifully through it, and others who are very purposeful with a very conscious model that they can articulate because it's conscious.
And a lot of them go through the journey where it begins by using the force. And then it becomes more purposeful because at some point, the way that I'm behaving entrepreneurially doesn't then scale. And so I now,
All right, so to scale, you have to document. When is it easier to document? When you've got a big business or a smaller business? Yeah. Now, does it mean that if you're big, you shouldn't go slow down and document? No, it makes it imperative. And yet this is applicable no matter where you are in your business journey. Start documenting. You're going to see why here in just a second.
it all started usually with somebody else's model.
They saw someone doing something and they said, I'm going to copy that model.
Absolutely. When you listen to Lacey Bishop and she says, well, I do this open house thing now and it culminates with 300 signs every Sunday and I sell 300 plus houses because of the way I approach my Sundays. And then you say, well, gosh, how did you get there? And she says, well, I heard another agent being interviewed on Agent Mountain with Gary. I took that exact model. And then I said, okay, you're still running it the same way? And she said, no. Over the years, we've made small changes. But fundamentally, they're amazing learners. And they are all too excited to document what someone else is doing. They want you to prove you're having success doing it because they're not interested in your ideas. They're interested in what you've proven. And then over time, they make incremental changes to make it their own. The next thing that they all seem to do is everything matters, but not everything matters equally. And
Write it down.
Write it down.
So right from
they're all very clear on there might be 31 steps to doing the perfect client event or the perfect open house. And they're going to get all 31 of them done. But they're always clear which 2 or 3 matter most. And that's where the real experience lies.
Where do you think that clarity comes from? Does it come from accountability to outcome?
I think it's 2 places. Number one, I think it comes from repeated effort. When you do something and you wake up every day for 8 years or something and you hit the same nail, all of a sudden the idiosyncrasies of hitting it become clear to you, even though they're wildly obscure to everybody else.
You begin to understand what matters and doesn't matter.
Exactly right. And then
If you didn't hit the nail the first time, are the little things going to get clearer? If you never go hit the nail.
Number 2, I think the trials and tribulations of market changes force you to look up and say, okay, something changed in the business. The outcome has now changed. What are the pieces that I need to either augment or that always need to be the same?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, times change also, right? I mean, markets change, people change, tastes change, everything changes, which means that you can expect cyclically every 7-10 years or so, you will make changes to how you do something.
Absolutely. What's interesting, though, is with so many of the people that we've interviewed on the show, the markets around them have changed. Interest rates have changed, conditions have changed, political leaders have changed, rules have changed around real estate. They're perennially winning. And that's what I find fascinating. You look at a gentleman like a Richard Stone, if you haven't listened to his interview, go do it because he starts by telling you how real estate is done in the 70s. And here's the thing, he knows as much about that as he does about how it's being done today. What never changed is that he walks from door to door in neighborhoods to generate the leads. So the business changed.
Let me be super clear. Go listen to his, if you're looking to expand your database, he works 6 months a year. He makes more than $2.5 million a year in GCI. And all he does is door knock and work his database.
Who was that again? I'm sorry.
Richard Stone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just, but Richard really hasn't.
I mean, fundamentally, what Richard does hasn't changed, but how he does it, the nuances of that, absolutely.
Yes. And by the way, he went from keeping a list in his pocket of the addresses to now using a CRM and a piece of technology, which allows him to bring his son into the business.
Pretty cool. What else? What do you think?
They're wildly educationally based. And I think that there's a lot of people that might say they are, and they might be, right? But it's how do you demonstrate it? Like, what are the rituals that you've put into your life to actually live an educational?
Write down, what have you actually implemented in your life that makes you educationally based? What do you attend? What do you set aside? Write that down. You want to be successful because you have goals. Now, everybody doesn't define success in the same way, and that's okay. But no matter what, for you to hit your version of success, you've got to show up. And these are the consistent things that, when executed, create success.
Based life. That's different than saying I value education. And almost all of them are voracious readers. And by the way, that includes listening to books, podcast listeners. When we do the lightning round, you say, well, what's your favorite podcast? I venture to guess the majority of the populace can't name the top 3 podcasts they listen to. Our people can. They can tell you what books they've read. They can tell you what podcasts they're listening to. They can tell you what events they're going to. And they also have models for the way they listen to these things.
Yeah, they keep us on our toes because they're constantly asking us, what are we listening to? What are we reading?
Yes, and that's exactly right. They're But here's the connective tissue. Number one, they were hiring to a model and a process. Number two, they were going to keep hiring until they got the right one. They didn't hire 1 or 2. It didn't work out and say, I'm done with that. They were committed to getting it right.
What comes to my mind listening to you about this is, and I've listened to every episode, they all seem to know their numbers.
So well.
So well. Do they have cheat sheets? Do they have these big, reams of paper in front of them that they're able to write? I'm listening to Daniel Dixon and I'm going, oh my gosh, man, how do you know all of that off the top of your head? But I know Daniel, he's not reading anything.
No.
He's telling you exactly how it is.
Well, that's a great example of someone who wakes up wildly curious about the lever that he's chosen. He worked at an internet lead generation company, selling leads to real estate agents, sees how much money they're making, looks up and says, I'll just go into that business. And so him waking up every day and looking at the numbers, the dials that drive his world is as natural to him as breathing.
So sidebar, if you're not numbers oriented, can you still be successful?
I think it's okay to not be numbers oriented. I don't think it's okay to ignore numbers. Meaning, I think you can probably be successful. You won't be as successful as you could be. And life is about maximizing your potential. And so I think the question will become, what are the 3 or 4 most important numbers to my business? And
all right. He asked, what are the 3 or 4 most important numbers to my business? And those are the ones you need to know. You don't need to know every number, but you need to know the ones that are important to your business. All right, hold on. Let me go find where we were. Shoot.
The day when you meet people that are excelling in life, they've made the connection between the level.
Okay to ignore numbers. Meaning, I think you can probably be successful. You won't be as successful as you could be. And life is about maximizing your potential. And so I think the question will become, what are the 3 or 4 most important numbers to my business? And then being an unmovable object on those numbers.
Yeah. In BOLD, we teach life by the numbers, right? The path is in the math. And you said that very well. At the end of the day, when you meet people that are excelling in life, they've made the connection between the level that they can live at and the numbers that they have to track or understand in order to get to that level. And they've made the connection. And you can hear it in the show. When you interview, I'm always curious when the numbers are going to show up. They always show up.
They always show up.
They know their numbers.
They know their numbers.
You know, the other thing that I've observed is they are happy.
It's,
Tell us the truth. Are they all faking it? Because they seem very happy to me.
no, that's the thing. I laugh because they're really happy. And that doesn't mean that they're happy with every day and every circumstance. That would be fake. But by and large, these are people who have spent a considerable amount of time, over time, figuring out what's important to them, who they are, what they stand for, why they work so hard. It's a question that I think very few people think about, and it's a simple one. Why do you work so hard? And these people, by and large, can answer it. And I found it falls into two buckets. The first bucket is I'm running from something. And I think of like a Cody Gibson episode who's running from abject poverty and says, I don't ever want to be there again. And I'm going to run as hard as I can. And he looks up at some point in his life and is running by habit and then reassesses what's important. The other group of people, they went through a slightly different journey where they had the time and the resources to consider what their why is and what's important. And then they build businesses to be able to go and make a difference.
Let's switch gears.
Which one are you? There's no right or wrong in that, by the way. It's just clarity. Are you running from something or to something? As long as you're running, right? We're all running because we're all here. But what's driving you?
Where they become either A, disenfranchised, or B, disillusioned, or simply bored. And they go through these spurts where they look up and they don't exactly know what they want. They don't even exactly think and know that something is missing. But familiarity breeds contempt. And they wake up and say, I've had more success than I ever.
Write that down. Familiarity breeds contempt. You know why I'm making you write that down? What happens when you do something repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly?
Exhausted.
Comfortable.
You're bored, you're exhausted, you're comfortable. It becomes, ugh. So then, and he's going to talk about this. Then what do I get to hear from y'all?
Quit.
Yeah. I wasn't going to go for whining. Let's not throw ourselves under the bus quite there yet. Scattershot. You start chasing shiny things. You start looking for something new, and then you punish yourself because you're not a master at it. You feel that? Got it.
20 hours with someone.
Bear with me.
Unpacking their model. And discover at the end that be creative. Where can I go do? Is the grass greener? Sometimes contempt. And they wake up and say, I've had more success than I ever thought I was going to have. I've made more money than I ever really thought I was going to have. I have this incredible thing over here. Now, what's it all about? Where can I go be creative? Where can I go do? Is the grass greener somewhere else? And by and large, at least with the ones we've interviewed, they scratched the itch perhaps, and then they end up kind of right back, falling back in love with whatever it was they thought they were running from.
That's a big truth, by the way. It happens to all of us. It really does. I remember in my 20s, right off the bat, Keller Williams is succeeding. And I'm teaching a class, and a student comes out of the audience and says, do you teach other than realtors? And I said, well, I never have. That's interesting. Tell me more. Next thing you know, I'm giving speeches in other cities, flying to other cities, being paid to give talks to the carpet cleaners of America, the landscape architects of America.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. And I looked up one day and went, what am I doing? I did not want to be traveling around giving speeches to these individuals. I want to be in the real estate business, and this is pulling me away from it. And I killed all the contracts and never did it again.
That's so interesting. I think that's what happens. If there was a second thing, I think sometimes they mistake opportunity for another job. So they look up and say, there's this great opportunity over there. And ultimately, if you said it different, there's another job I can have. You probably would look up and say, well, I wasn't looking for another job, nor do I have the time or inclination to go take it. But the minute you take out the word job and put in opportunity, it becomes this aphrodisiac for entrepreneurs.
Oh my gosh, you have nailed it, by the way. Again, I think maybe we all at some point in our life fall prey to chasing the additional opportunity, right?
Okay, so that time I actually meant to hit off. If you want the one pagers from these podcasts, you can scan this QR code, but they're also in the team meeting drive. That is, the link is pinned to the top. Here's what I don't want you to do. For the last quarter, I do not want you to go download one of these playbooks and try something new. I want you to go look at these playbooks and see how you can plus what you are doing. I want you to be at the business planning clinics, because this is how we map your business for 2025. If you have not already RSVP'd for these, yes, you can come to both. No, you won't get CE twice, but yes, you will walk out with a comprehensive plan that you can actually execute on. Now, I handed you something. And if you're online, this is in the team meeting docs as well, and Seth's got it up for you. But this is what's sitting in front of you. If you have a stack, pass them around. If you need one, raise your hand. If you have an extra, raise your hand. Hold it up. Here's the thing. 11 ways to finish strong. These are all action items. That's your tip. Action. The action you take from today until December 31st is going to determine what January 1st of 2025 through March of 2025 is going to look like for you. Who plans on being in real estate as of March 2025? Anybody? So not everybody? If you're leaving?
I'm quitting.
Well, that's fair. Veto, sorry.
Veto.
Guys, here's the thing. Yes, you need business now. How will you get business now? Action. How will you make sure that you are set up for success in 2025? Action. You don't have a choice. You must move. The successful people achieving at high levels are not chasing shiny objects. Embrace the monotony of success.
Embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. Because you know what it gives you? It gives you the opportunity to live a life that other people only aspire to. But you have to do the things in between. Now, here's the great news. You already know what works. You don't have to go figure that out. But you do need to go do it. Are you going to be a master on day 1, day 2, day 50, day 100? No. How long does it take to master something? 5 years on average. So if you are not failing at something this week, you have not moved. Here's the link to the podcast. Go anywhere that you listen. Hey, and guess what? Water.
Yeah.
Your office has a podcast, and we have guests on there. Alexis and Tisa have been on. We have a fantastic time telling stories of what we're doing locally that's working and what's not. And we do a good job of telling you guys what we failed at or what we're changing and why. If you want to know hyper locally what we're doing and failing at, feel free, tune in. We have a really good time. It's on every service, but also you can scan the QR code. If I can leave you with one thing today, and it is 12 o'clock on the dot, yes. If I can leave you with one thing today, get into action and put the action on your calendar. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So I want to hear 3 things that you heard before I let you escape to food.
Progress over perfection.
And I know that's you.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Everything matters, but not everything matters equally.
Oh, say that louder for the folks in the back.
Everything matters, but not everything matters equally.
Done is good, good is great.
Yes.
Don't chase shiny objects.
Don't chase shiny objects. It's not under 135. Don't come and tell me what you're paying $150 a month for. What